Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I hope you all are reading well. Guys, I have a small announcement to make before we start our video. We have started radiographic interpretation series on Instagram and Facebook, so don't forget to join me over there. Within a 1 month, we are gonna cover all the important radiographic images. Okay, so do check out once and follow me over there. And to get a PDF of any video lecture, you can get it from my Telegram channel. Okay. So today we are going to study about the ovarian cycle and the endometrial cycle or the menstrual cycle. Okay. So first let's see the basic female reproductive organ. Okay. You can see the fallopian tube, ovary, and this is the uterus part and the endometrium. The plasma level of ovarian hormones are not constant, but they show cyclic fluctuations, and therefore the reproductive system of women shows regular cyclic changes, and the cycle is called menstrual cycle, right? Because of the continuous fluctuation in the hormones, there is such cycles which develops. Okay, if it is related to ovary, if it is occurring here in the ovary, then we call it a ovarian cycle, and if it occurs into the endometrium, which we commonly know as a menstrual cycle. So today we are going to study both the cycles in detail with the particular hormone and its role in it. So first let's review the ovarian cycle. Okay, this is a picture of an ovary. Okay, first of all there are primordial follicles. Okay, primordial follicles develop into primary follicles, then granulosa cells develop in it. Okay, then it grows into secondary follicle. Now among these secondary follicles, only one follicle will grow fully, and we name it as Graafian follicle. Okay, now there is a formation of this oocyte. Okay, and this ovulated secondary oocyte, it gets released from the cavity, which is a process of ovulation, right? Very important phenomenon, okay, occurring into this whole cycle, the process of ovulation. Then after the release of ovum, there would be just a ruptured follicle, and as it contains blood, we call it corpus hemorrhagicum. Okay, and then there would be developing corpus luteum. Okay, you can see the oocyte is not present over here. Okay, it's just the follicle remaining, so we call it a corpus luteum which is developing, and then this disintegrates and form the corpus albicans. Okay, and this way the complete degradation occurs. Now if fertilization occurs after the ovulation, okay, then there would be a formation of embryo. This is the basic steps in ovarian cycle which you should know, from the primary follicles to the corpus albicans. Okay. Now let's review the menstrual cycle. Okay, first day, that is when the menstruation occurs, from day 0 to 5. What are the changes occurring into the uterine wall? Uterine lining breakdown. Okay, disintegration of the uterine lining occurs, and the unfertilized ovum is discharged through the vagina, which causes the menstrual bleeding, right? Then from day 5 to 14, that is before the ovulation, uterine lining starts to thicken, and to thicken we need increased blood supply and increased food and oxygen. Okay, it prepare for the fertilized ovum. Now on the day 14, what occurs? Ovulation occurs. Okay, and it is not seen during the pregnancy, but during the routine menstrual cycle ovulation occurs. Okay, that is the release of the ovum from the Graafian follicle, as we have seen in the ovarian cycle, right? Now after the ovulation, from day 14 to 28, or day 0 as we can say, uterine lining becomes very thick and it is ready to receive the fertilized ovum. If the fertilization occurs, okay, after the ovulation, if fertilization occurs, then ovum meets the sperm in the oviduct, okay, उसके बाद menstruation नहीं होता for 9 months as we all know, right? And uterine lining will not break down. अगर fertilization नहीं होता है, then again menstruation will start. So this way the menstrual cycle keeps on continuing in females. So yeah, let's review the phases, okay. This follicular phase and the luteal phase are the two phases of ovarian cycle, okay. And the menstruation, then the proliferative phase in which the uterine lining, they are proliferating and the thickening of the uterine lining occurs into the proliferative phase. And then comes the secretory phase in which again the uterine lining, if fertilization has not occurred, again it prepares the uterine lining for the secretion or the disintegration. So this is our secretory phase. After the secretory phase, menstruation occurs, right? So this way the cycle keeps on going. So one is our menstrual or endometrial cycle, which is going over here, right? And another is our ovarian cycle, which occurs particularly in our ovary. I hope this much is clear to you, right? Now the important event here is this, and it is also important for your MCQ, okay? The interval between ovulation, which normally occurs on 14th day. So the interval between ovulation and end of the cycle is essentially constant at 14 days irrespective of the cycle length. In some women, cycles may prolonged. It might be greater than 28 days or it might be lesser than 28 days. But what remains constant is the interval between the ovulation and the end cycle. वो जो period है, it remains constant, which is 14 days. Okay, now this is an animated presentation of the menstrual as well as the uterine cycle. So this will clear your concept much better. Okay, see, ovarian cycle, as we have studied, here they have also shown the hormonal play in it. Okay, so first of all, there is a low estrogen at the end of menses. Okay, then what is happening? Hypothalamus is activating the pituitary, and from pituitary FSH is being released, okay, and this is our follicular phase, okay. So follicles are growing gradually, as you can see. As the follicle has grown, there is a estrogen level which rises, okay, and then the LH comes into the picture. LH level rises drastically, and that it smacks the Graafian follicle, and this is the ovulation, right? Ovum is released from the Graafian follicle, so that is the ovulation which is occurring over here. Now, who will dominate? Corpus luteum will start disintegrating due to the fall of LH hormone, okay? And progesterone hormone dominates, and here you can see corpus albicans, this is decreasing, or we can say degenerating, and then again the menses occurs, and this whole is a luteal phase because of the corpus luteum, we call it luteal phase, and on the other side follicles are developing, so we call it a follicular phase. So guys, we can also imagine it like a match, okay. So this is the interval phase, okay. ये मैच का फर्स्ट हाफ है. सो फर्स्ट हाफ में क्या हो रहा है? ईस्ट्रोजन डोमिनेट कर रहा है, ठीक है. टीम ईस्ट्रोजन इज डोमिनेटिंग इन द फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ द मैच, ओके. देन in the interval phase ovulation is occurring because of LH rise, ठीक है. And in the second half of the match progesterone is dominating, right? So it is easy to remember that way. On the first half of the match, who is dominating? Estrogen. Second half में कौन dominate करेगा? Progesterone. और first half में follicle छोटी से बड़ी होगी और second half में क्या होगा? Corpus luteum धीरे धीरे disintegrate हो रहा है, ठीक है? And ovulation में LH level एकदम से बढ़ गया और उसने it releases is the ovulation, that is the release of ovum from Graafian follicle. I hope it is now very simple and you have got the concept, right? Meanwhile, in the uterine cycle or the menstrual cycle, as we have studied, first is the proliferative phase. You can see this is the ये जो endometrium का lining है, okay, it is growing. So endometrium lining is proliferating, okay, and it is induced by estrogen. The thickness of endometrium increases, and what happens in the secretory phases? It is influenced by progesterone, and the lining becomes highly vascular and edematous. Okay, as you can see the redness over here, so it becomes vascular and edematous, and then the menstruation occurs. Okay, so in the ovarian cycle, first event which occurs is the follicular phase. Now, why I have kept this diagram? Because it is very essential to know the Graafian follicle, ठीक है? ये जो diagram है अपना, that is Graafian follicle का. Now it is having a granulosa cell, okay? The granulosa cell you can see, okay, and the theca interna cell, which is on the inside, and theca externa cell. ये तीन cell are important for us, okay? So granulosa cell, they have receptor for FSH. पिट्यूटरी से जब FSH रिलीज होगा, so granulosa cell will respond to it because it has receptors for FSH. Theca interna cell, they have receptors for LH. Now this is the important for your MCQ, okay? Granulosa cell में FSH receptor है, theca interna में LH receptor है, and this is the diagram of Graafian follicle, which is seen in the follicular phase, okay? Remember this much. Now the second event which is occurring is the ovulation, okay? अभी ये ovary में Graafian follicle अपने ovum को release करेगी और वो fallopian tube will capture it. As you can see, egg in the fallopian tube, okay? So meanwhile, ठीक है, if fertilization occurs during this phase, then this egg will become embryo and it will get implanted into the uterus. अगर fertilization नहीं हुआ, then it will start disintegrating, right? And menses will occur. Now the third event which is of importance, okay, जो कि ovarian cycle में third event is post ovulatory phase, ठीक है? Ovulation के बाद का phase which we call as luteal phase, okay? यहाँ पे एक बहुत ही important event है, that is the progesterone is associated with rise in the basal body temperature which occurs immediately after ovulation. This is a very important event and MCQs have asked from this thing, so do note it down. Now what happens if fertilization does occur, okay? अगर fertilization हो जाता है, then corpus luteum remains active, okay? And progesterone levels remain high and the uterine lining will become more strong because it has to endure the embryo. And then the implantation occurs and human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG, from fetus takes over the hormonal कंट्रोल, ठीक है गाइज? अगर फर्टिलाइजेशन हो जाता है तो हार्मोनल सारा कंट्रोल HCG के हाथ में चला जाएगा, ठीक है? उसके पहले तक का कंट्रोल इज मैच के सेकेंड हाफ में कौन कंट्रोल कर रहा था? प्रोजेस्टेरॉन. सो या पोस्ट ओव्यूलेटरी प्रोजेस्टेरॉन का लेवल हाई रहेगा. ओके, नाउ लेट्स स्टडी द hormonal role and its mechanism, how it's being released, okay? So basically in the ovarian cycle and the menstrual cycle, we have hormones from the hypothalamus, from the anterior pituitary and the ovarian hormone, ठीक है? तीन जगह से हार्मोन रिलीज हो रहे हैं to balance this ovarian or the menstrual cycle, right? So hypothalamus से gonadotropin releasing hormone release हो रहा है. We have already studied in our pituitary lecture. It is just a revision for you all, right? Now this gonadotropin releasing hormone will activate the pituitary, anterior pituitary. वहाँ से FSH and LH release होंगे, ठीक है? It will work on ovary. Ovary in turn क्या release करेगी? Estrogen and progesterone, ठीक है? Now it will have its effect on uterus. But this estrogen hormone is also secreted by the ovarian follicles, right? We have seen कि मैच के फर्स्ट हाफ में estrogen was dominating. क्यों? क्योंकि वहाँ पे follicle का growth हो रहा था, ठीक है? Follicles छोटी से एकदम बड़ी हो रही थी, right? So those ovarian follicles were secreting the estrogen. That's why estrogen was dominating in the pre-ovulatory phase. Okay. So yeah, now one more important thing over here is a positive feedback mechanism of estrogen, right? उसके लिए we have to study this one graph, right? In the first graph we are seeing about the LH and FSH, and in the second diagram we are seeing the estrogen or progesterone का level, ठीक है? Similarly with on the 7th day, 14th, 21st and 28th day पे. So first of all on the 11th day estrogen का level आप देख सकते हो एकदम से high हो रहा है, ठीक है? 11th day you have to remember it or note it down, ठीक है? 11th day पे estrogen का level सबसे maximum होगा, and then it will give the positive feedback to whom? To pituitary and hypothalamus to release LH and FSH. So guys, corresponding to the 11th day, you can see here also on the 11th day somewhere, LH and FSH levels are rising increasingly, okay? So it causes LH surge. Now on the 11th day, by the positive feedback, estrogen is stimulating whom? Hypothalamus and pituitary to secrete LH and FSH. It takes 24 to 48 hours. It takes 24 to 48 hours for this LH surge to occur, ठीक है? पॉजिटिव फीडबैक आते ही तुरंत LH का लेवल राइज नहीं हो रहा है. इट टेक्स 24 to 48 hours for LH level to rise, okay? So do understand this much, okay? Then on the 21st day एक और significant event हो रहा है, that is the rise in the level of progesterone, okay? The green dotted line you can see, it is at highest on 21st day. तो वो नेगेटिव फीडबैक सेंड करेगा हाइपोथैलेमस और पिट्यूटरी को, ठीक है? सो दैट्स वाई level of LH and FSH is decreasing over here, okay? In the post ovulatory period, FSH and LH are decreasing, और यही रीज़न है LH का लेवल डिक्रीज हो रहा है तो कॉर्पस लूटियम स्टार्ट्स डिसइंटीग्रेटिंग, ठीक है? Luteinizing hormone is decreasing, so corpus luteum also starts disintegrating into the post-ovulatory phase, as you can see over here, right? I hope this much is clear to everybody, है ना? Positive feedback and negative feedback, अगर आपको hard terms लग रहे हैं, then understand it as positive feedback means it's a positive message to hypothalamus and pituitary to release the FSH and LH, and negative feedback is a negative message given by the estrogen and progesterone level to hypothalamus कि भाई नहीं, अब we don't want more of estrogen progesterone, so आप LH और FSH को कम करो, ठीक है? So the same thing we can see here, okay? Positive feedback occurring at day 12 to 14, okay? 11th day पे estrogen का level एकदम बढ़ गया था. It takes 24 to 48 hours, okay, for this positive feedback and the LH level to rise, as we have seen in the graph earlier, ठीक है. So it sends positive message like this way, and negative feedback कब होगा guys? In the post ovulatory period, estrogen progesterone का level बढ़ गया है, so it will send a negative feedback. Okay, most of the cycle में ये होगा like at the end of the cycle, and so it will decrease the FSH and LH secretion, and so estrogen and progesterone will decrease gradually. I hope this much is clear now. Okay, now let's summarize what we just studied. Okay, anterior pituitary क्या release कर रही है? FSH and LH. ठीक है, FSH का क्या function था? It stimulate the follicular growth of ovaries in pre-ovulatory phase, and it stimulate the estrogen secretion, right? LH का क्या रोल था? LH surge causes the ovulation on 14th day, and it result in the formation of corpus luteum, right? From the ovaries दो हार्मोन रिलीज हो रहे हैं, ईस्ट्रोजन एंड प्रोजेस्टेरॉन. सो ईस्ट्रोजन क्या करता है? इट थिकन्स द यूट्राइन लाइनिंग, it inhibits the FSH and LH for most of the cycle, and it stimulate FSH and LH release pre-ovulation, which was our positive feedback mechanism. ठीक है, so estrogen most of the cycle में FSH LH को inhibit ही करता है, but in the pre-ovulation phase it stimulates FSH and LH. Progesterone क्या काम करता है? It thickens the uterine lining, okay, and it inhibits FSH and LH. So guys, positive feedback बहुत important event है, and it is caused by estrogen. And the second most important event is LH surge, which occurs during the ovulation on the 14th day. So ये दो event नहीं भूलना. Okay, now let's summarize whatever we studied. Okay, in this single chart सब कुछ summarize हो जाएगा जितना हम पढ़े हैं, ठीक है. I hope it's very clear, and you guys can attempt all the MCQs now nicely. Guys, it's a small request, please hit the thumbs up, like my video if you have gained something from it. It takes a lot of hard work to make a single video, and I would feel really encouraged to see the likes from you guys and from the response from you guys. And feel free to reach me on Instagram and Facebook for any queries related to your preparation. Okay, thank you so much.